Dear students, welcome to the science class. In the last class, we completed with the topic named as force and Newton's laws of motion. In that topic, we covered Newton's first law, Newton's second law, and Newton's third law. That's nothing but first law is related to the inertia and mass. Second law is related to the momentum, the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the external force applied. And third law is related to the conservation of the momentum. That is nothing but every action has its own reaction. For every action there is equal and opposite reaction where we are going to conserve the momentum. For that reason, we have another law there, that is nothing but conservation of the law of conservation of the momentum. So we have already completed the topic. Today we are going to discuss about the exercise. So what is the first question in the exercise? Which one is the theory question? For that reason, I just written those things. I'm just going to write the numerical questions as well as I'm going to solve those questions. I'm going to solve all the questions, but I'm going to write only the numerical questions. So what is the first question here? An object experiences a net zero external unbalanced force. Is it possible for the object to be traveling with non-zero velocity? If yes, state the condition that must be placed on the magnitude and direction of the velocity. If no, provide a reason. So in the first question, what they are given here, they are given that if net force applied is equal to 0, if net force is applied is equal to 0, is it possible that the velocity will be not equal to 0? We already know that when you apply unbalanced force, there will be change in the state of the motion. That is nothing but an object which is present at the rest position. It is going to travel. It is going to move. Then when we apply the external force, there is the change in the velocity. That is nothing but from 0 to some value. So in that question, what they are asking here, if the net unbalanced force is equal to 0, there is no force is applied on the object. Is it possible that velocity of or the speed of that object will be equal to non-zero? It will be equal to 1, 2, 3, but it will not be equal to 0. Is it possible? If it is possible, what we have to say, in which condition the magnitude and the direction will be having the velocity, but net applied force will be equal to 0. In the same way, if it is not possible, we have to give a reason. So if you take here, if an object is at rest, when we apply the force, it is going to move. That is nothing but from 0 to some velocity. For that reason, it requires force. In the same manner, if you take an object which is already in motion, that is nothing but which is going with the velocity of 5 meters per second, which is already in motion. So, what will happen to this speed or this velocity if no unbalanced force is applied on this object? What will happen here? V is equal to 5.5 meters per second. Already an object is in motion. If you don't apply any force on this object, what will happen? The speed is going to change or the speed is going to remain same? The speed is going to remain same. That is nothing but V is equal to 5 meters per second. When F is equal to how much? F is equal to 0. If no net external force is applied, the speed will remain same only. So, in this condition is possible. When this condition is possible, when the object which is already in motion, which is already in movement. So at that time, if it doesn't apply any external force, then the velocity will not be equal to 0. So this is the first answer. I hope this is clear. Now we are going to take the second answer. Second question. When a carpet is beaten with a stick, dust comes out of it. Explain. When a carpet is beaten with a stick, dust comes out. We have to explain it. So if you remember, what is happening here? Carpet contains lot amount of dust. So there two objects are there. One is carpet, second one is dust. So when you move that, when you rotate it or you hit that carpet with a stick, what will happen? Dust is going to come out. Dust is going to come out and carpet starts to move. So why it is happening? If you remember the Newton's first law of motion. In that Newton's first law of motion, we studied about the inertia and mass. So what is the inertia? Inertia is nothing but it is the tendency to resist the state of the motion. It is the tendency to resist this change in the state of the motion. If you check here, carpet is at rest position initially. In the same manner, the dust particles which are present in that carpet is also in the rest position. So when you hit that carpet with a stick, carpet starts to move. Right? Carpet starts to move, but the dust particles which are present in that carpet are resisting the change in the state of the motion. They are resisting the change in the state of the motion because of the inertia of that dust particles. Because of that reason, the dust particles will remain there and the carpet starts to move. When the carpet starts to move, because of the inertia of the dust particles starts to fall down there only or going to remain there only. Because of that reason, dust particles are separated from the carpet due to the inertia of the dust particles. So this is the answer for the second question. So next question. Why is it advised to tie any luggage kept on the roof of a bus with a rope? Why is it advised to tie any luggage kept on the roof of a bus with a rope? So if you take a bus here, this is the third question and answer for the third question. So we are going to keep the luggage on the bus. So if you see the luggage on the bus, all the luggage bus, if you take the example of train, everything, all the luggages are going to tie with a rope. They are going to tie this luggage with a rope. Why it is so? Why they are tying that luggage with a rope? Why they are not keeping as it is without tying? If you check here, at initial position, again we are going to take the example, or again we are going to take the law, first law of Newton, first law of motion. That is nothing but which is related to the inertia. So if you check here, initially the bus is also at rest position, as well as the luggage is also at rest position. Both are at rest position. What happens? Suddenly this bus accelerates. The bus starts its acceleration in the forward direction. What will happen? If it is going to the forward direction, due to the inertia of this luggage, what will happen? It resists the change in the state of the motion. If it is resisting the change in the state of the motion, if bus moves forward direction, the luggage starts to move in backward direction. Luggage starts to move in the backward direction due to the inertia of that luggage. Because of that thing, there is a chances of that luggage is going to fall down from the bus. Luggage is going to fall down from the bus. For that reason, we are going to tie the luggage with the bus so that all these things become one only. This is separate thing, this is separate thing. When you tie this thing, it will become only one. So that when bus accelerates, the luggage also starts to move in the forward direction only. If bus stops, the luggage is also going to stop. If it doesn't tie that luggage with a rope, it is not possible that the luggage is going to keep there only. It is going to fall down from the bus. If suddenly apply the brake, the bus driver suddenly applies the brake, what will happen? Bus is going to stop. If it doesn't tie that luggage, this luggage starts to move in the forward direction. What will happen again when it moves in the forward direction? There is a chance that it is going to fall down from the bus. For that reason, we are going to tie the luggage with the rope. For that reason, for the inertia of the luggage, because of the inertia of the luggage. So this is the third answer. Now next fourth question. Fourth question is the MCQ one, multiple choice question. So see that question. A batsman hits a cricket ball which then rolls on a level ground. After covering a short distance, the ball comes to rest. The ball slows down to stop because so in the question they are given, a batsman hits the ball. A cricket batsman is going to hit the ball on the level ground. This ball starts to roll and after some time it is going to stop at this point. After some time, after covering some distance, it is going to stop here. So we have to tell the reason. The ball slows to stop because. Why it is stopping after covering some amount of distance? Why? What is the reason for the stopping of the ball after covering some small amount of distance? We have to tell that reason. So they are given the four options. So first option is the batsman did not hit the ball hard enough. The batsman did not hit the ball hard enough. The first option. Second option, velocity is proportional to the force exerted on the ball. Velocity is proportional force exerted on the ball. Second option. Third option, there is a force on the ball opposing the motion. There is a force on the ball which is opposing the motion. And the fourth option is, the option is, there is no unbalanced force on the ball, so the ball would want to come to rest. So check here, if you check here, if you check the ball here, ball is in contact with the what? With the ground. If you remember our initial point, while starting this topic, we discussed about the three types of forces, that is nothing but contact force and non-contact force. If you check here, the ball is in contact with the ground. So there is a contact force acting on the ball because of the contact of the ball and the ground. So what is that contact force? That is nothing but the friction force. That is nothing but the friction force. When two balls come in contact with each other, there is a friction force going to exert on both the bodies. So if the movement of the ball is there, the friction force is going to exert on the ball. If the movement of the ground is there, the friction force is going to exert on the ground. But it is not possible that ground is going to move, but the ball is going to move. So then the external force which is acting on that ball is nothing but it is the frictional force. If you remember the points correctly of the frictional force is always act on the opposite direction. It is always going to act in the opposite direction. If the direction of the motion in this direction, that means the frictional force is going to act in the opposite direction. So on which object the frictional force is acting here? The object which is frictional force is acting is nothing but it is the wall. So our correct option is nothing but it is the C. That is nothing but there is a force on the ball. There is the force on the ball which is opposing the movement or which is opposing the motion. So what is that force? It is the frictional force. So option number C is the correct answer for the question number 4. That is nothing but there is a force on the ball opposing the motion. So this is the answer for the fourth question. So next we are going to discuss about the fifth question. That is nothing but it is a numerical one. So you should remember all the topics which is covered in this chapter, that is nothing but force and laws of the motion, as well as you should remember the formulas which are used in the motion topic. That is nothing but some formulas are being derived there and some formulas are there. So they are together using those two formulas which are coming in the motion chapter as well as which are coming in this topic. Using those formulas they are going to solve all the numericals which are going to come in this topic. So always remember all those formulas. So here let me take, say we are going to discuss the fifth question here. So what is that? It starts from rest and goes down ahead with a constant acceleration. Right? It travels a distance of 400 meters in 20 seconds. 400 meters in 20 seconds. So find its acceleration, full point. Find the force acting on it if its mass is 7 tons. If 1 ton is equal to 1000 kg. So if you check But what we are doing the mistake here, to find out the constant acceleration, we have to know the velocity of each point. That is the change in the velocity of the each point. This will be not be the velocity of the final point. It will be the wrong one way. So if you take that, it will be 20 meter per second only. If you take that value, the acceleration value will be wrong. For that reason, we are not going to use this formula. We are going to use the another formula, that is nothing but we are going to use the formula that is relationship between the position and the time. We are going to use the formula that nothing but relationship between the position and time. That is nothing but s equal to ut plus half at square for the purpose of the calculating what acceleration. So already which is given, time is given as well as initial velocity is given, total distance covered is given. For that reason, without using this formula, we are going to use the formula that is nothing but s equal to ut plus half at square. So first we have to write down all the given data. So what is the given data here? The initial velocity of the train is equal to how much? It is equal to 0 since it is starting from the rest position. So initial velocity of the train, that is nothing but u is equal to how much? It is equal to 0 meter per second. Since it is starting from the rest position, rolls down with constant acceleration. It travels a distance of 400 meters. So total distance covered is how much? Total distance covered, that is nothing but s is equal to 400 meters. Right? It is given in the problem statement. Then what they given? And the time taken for the covering that much distance is equal to how much? It is equal to time taken at nothing but t is equal to how much? It is given as 20 seconds. 20 seconds. And what you have to find out? You have to find out the acceleration. So the acceleration of the bus, that is nothing but let it be equal to question mark. We have to find out that thing. In the same way, now you take the mass of the bus, which is given here. Mass of the bus. Total mass of the bus together the goods, whatever the goods is kept in the bus, together mass of that bus is equal to how much? It is equal to 7 tons. So that m is equal to how much? It is equal to 7 tons. So we have to convert this tons into the kgs. If we want Newton as the SI unit, for that reason always mass SI unit should be in kgs. So already they are given here 1 ton is equal to how much? 1000 kg. So 1 ton is equal to 1000 kg. Therefore m is equal to 7 into 1000 is equal to how much? It is equal to 7000 kg, which is equal to how much? Which is equal to 7000 kg. So what you have to find out? You have to find out the force acting on the bus is equal to m is equal to question mark. That is f is equal to question mark. So if you say check here, u is given, s is given, t is given, and we have to find out the a. So we have a formula to find out the a. We have a relationship between the time and position. So we are going to use that relation so that we are going to find out the acceleration here. So what is that relation? We know that s equal to ut plus half at square. Ut plus half at square. By using this relation, we are going to find the acceleration here. So s is given as how much? It is equal to 400. What is the value of u here? It is equal to 0. So if u is equal to 0 into time is equal to 20 plus 1 divided by 2 into a is given as, we don't know the value of a. So that what is the value of time is given here? 20 square. So 400 equal to 0 plus 1 divided by 2 into a into 20 into 20. So that what is the value here? 2 ones are 2 tens are 2 tens are 20. So that 0 cancel, 0 cancel, this 0 cancel, this 0 cancel. Right? You can directly take this value here. Don't directly take those things. It will be confusing to you. So that we are going to take that value. 400 equal to 0 into 20 will be 0 0 plus 1 by 2 into a into 20 into 20. You can write like this. So that 2 ones are 2 tens are. That can be given as 400 equal to a into 10 into 20. So 0 cancel, 0 cancel, 0 cancel, 0 cancel, 2 ones are 2 twos are. Therefore a is equal to how much? It is equal to 2 meters per second square. A is equal to how much? It is equal to 2 meters per second square. So acceleration of the bus is equal to, it is equal to 2 meters per second square. So next what we have to calculate? We have to calculate the force here. We have to calculate the force acting on that bus. So what is the formula for the force acting on the bus? That is nothing but by Newton's second law of motion. By Newton's second law of motion. Newton's second law of motion. That is nothing but F is equal to ma. That is nothing but force is the product of the mass into acceleration. So what is the mass is given here? Mass is given as 7,000 kg. So then it will become 7,000. What is the acceleration here? Which is given as 2. So that 7,000 into 2 is equal to how much? It is equal to 14,000. That is nothing but kg meter per second square. Kg meter per second square. So then F is equal to how much? It is equal to 14,000 Newton. Since kg meter per second square is equal to Newton. So the net force which is acting on the bus is equal to how much? It is 14,000 Newton. So therefore the force acting on the bus, is equal to 14,000 Newton. It is equal to 14,000 Newton, and the acceleration of the bus, is equal to 2 meter per second. Is equal to 2 meter per second. So this is the answer for the fifth question. Now if you check here, initially I am telling that we don't use the formula A equal to V minus U divided by T. Why we are not going to use here? So if you check here, final velocity V is equal to how much? It is equal to S by T again. So what is the S here? It is 400. So what is time taken here? It is equal to 20. Right? 0 will cancel, 2 ones are 2 20s are. Right? 2 ones are 2 20s are is equal to how much? 40. So V becomes how much? It becomes 20 meters per second. So if you use the formula, that is nothing but A equal to V minus U divided by T. A equal to what is the value of P here? 20 minus U is 0 divided by time taken is 20. That is equal to how much? 20 divided by 20. So 21s are 21s are, that is equal to 1 meter per second square. So this is the wrong answer, wrong value. It is the wrong value of acceleration. Since the change in the velocity is going to happen every second, so we don't know the velocity of the each and every case. We know the average velocity. This will be the average final velocity. This is not the exact velocity. For that reason, I am not going to check this. We are not going to take this value for the calculating the acceleration. Since the time is given in the total time. The time is given the total time to cover this much distance. They are not given the time for the change in the velocity. For that reason, don't use this formula. Use this formula for the calculating the acceleration. That is nothing but position and time relationship. Since initial velocity is given, time is also given, position is also given, we can directly use that formula for the finding of the acceleration. So this is it for the fifth question. In the next class, we are going to discuss further questions which are given in the textbooks, that is 6, 7, 8, so on. So the further sections and further topics is going to be covered in the next class. Up to that point, thank you, take care, stay well, stay home. Try to solve as many as questions possible. So it is useful for you in the JEE IIT examination, so that they are going to ask this type of questions only. The higher questions, but this type, which is related to this type of questions. So up to that point, thank you.